do you deal with past versions of yourself that pop up in different situations? Hello! So ultimately, the way you would deal with this situation or a part personality coming up in any situation is that you notice that you're being different, or that you're acting not in the way that you normally act, and that you're reacting to something that is very triggering for you, if you will. And so you see it, you notice it, and you're like, okay. And you take a step back and you're like, I need a moment. If you can, of course. I need a moment. Or you just take a breath. Maybe not with those movements. You should breathe. Breathing allows for more air to go to your brain or into your lungs and into your cells, and that gives you the impression that you can take a moment to actually think things through, and you don't have to rush into anything. But as I was saying rush, I saw 111 on the timer. Yes, so if numerology is important to you, that might be interesting to check out. Today I'll be doing another insight, all about what do you do when different aspects of you pop back up. Okay. So yesterday I was on a coaching call with my mentor, or my coach, and a couple of other people on the call. It was a Q&A. And in high school, I used to be the nerd. I used to be the one who knew all the answers. I used to be a Hermione Granger. In my year, I was laughed at, picked on, bullied, well, not bullied, not in high school, but I was laughed at, made fun of. I was made fun of. Only in junior high till first year of high school. Maybe, yeah, I would say that. My senior year was more calm, if anything. People would still poke fun, but it wasn't as bad as junior high. In any case, so that emotion, that feeling, that type of individual that I used to be welled up inside of me, and the know-it-all thought, and was trying to take the spotlight from others, and was trying to show that she knew what she was talking about. And of course, my coach tried to, as a good coach does, and as any good teacher does, try to share the spotlight on other people. And so I had to learn how to rein my excitement in. And then when the time was right, my coach, asked me to talk, but that was because it was something that was more down my alley, right? So as much as I would like to have, I didn't have all the answers, but the one that I didn't really get, I was kind of annoyed with myself. It was like I was back in high school. And I've been out of high school for a while, right? But this comes back to what Christopher Duncan talks about as in regards to part personalities, which talks about when you are in a specific situation, specific situations will demand a different part of you. So you'll act differently within that sphere, right? In that moment, you'll be someone else, or you'll be a different aspect of yourself. And it was quite interesting to see that dynamic within myself. I'm like, so the need to be right and the need to be the one saying the right answer came up, which was me from high school and the first part of college, where I used to be the nerd. one who knew like most of the answers. And so the interesting part was how my coach like kind of but he reined the situation in by not giving me the ability to speak in moments where it wasn't really time for me to speak because he wanted someone else to do the work. When I say pop back up, alright, usually when referring to a part personality, it's a part of your personality that only comes up in specific situations, like I mentioned prior. But in this case, usually, as I said before, it only happens when you get triggered, right? So how can you actually keep those in check? Like I mentioned, it's to notice it. It's to think things through and like consciously think about it and be like, do I consciously want to respond the way that I would naturally respond, or the way I would like that be triggered to respond, or do I want to respond from my higher timeline? So it's that distinction that needs to be made, because usually when part personalities come up, they are because, like I mentioned, you're triggered. And so it's that these are the moments where you rein yourself back in and you try to stay with the new type of person that you are becoming, that you are working to embody the characteristics of, right? So I mean to say, there's nothing magic about it. It's just the work that you have to put in, and the effort and the consistency and the thought process that needs to go into this. And it is going to take time, and it might seem difficult because you're so used to doing it one way that the other way is going to seem so out of character for you. But if the individual that you want to become is a person that does not get triggered, well, it is going to take some time, but it is going to take some time because your neural pathways have been so grooved and like used to doing things a specific way, all right, that it's going to be difficult for you to like plot a new course. I can use my example for this, okay? After my accident, as you know, I had a big TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury, which is a bruise on your brain. And so when you have a bruise on your brain, that means that the old neural pathways that you had built are no longer working pathways. So you're going to have to recreate connections between cells and like between neurons, and this is what takes time. This is why people who've had TBIs and major TBIs have a lot of difficulty, because your brain hates change. It has worked very hard to get to where it is. Why change things now, right? So ultimately, it is going, for a little bit, it's going to be counterintuitive to make a change within yourself. But it is absolutely going to be necessary if you want to become the better version of you, for you to take on these new characteristics. Because if you do not, you will revert back to what you used to be, and maybe what you used to be is not something you want. Not only that, but you might go down a rabbit hole, and you might get worse and worse and worse. And so it is extremely important that you stay on top of your personality, on top of the way you think, because if you want to create the reality you want, you are going to have to stand firm and stand guard at the foot of your psyche, and choose what you allow in and what you don't allow in. This includes television shows, music, movies, friends, colleagues, work situations, what have you. Anything that is no longer in alignment with the person you want to become is out. Bye. You're gonna have to make those hard decisions because they say that your 5 closest friends are you will become more like them, or like something along those lines. Like the 5 people in your circle, the 5 closest people in your circle, you guys will gravitate towards each other. When I say gravitate towards each other, well, you guys will think similarly, you will act similarly, and you will experience things similarly. And so if you want things in your life to change, you have to change things in your life, and that's starting with the people you surround yourself with. Now, of course, you can't change family, but you can limit how much time you spend with family. Yes, it's not the best, but it is what it is. Have you begun this thought process of who you actually need to keep at arm's length and who you need to bring closer to you? Let me know.